All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Political Gurus slash Political Animals. Today it's gurus because we're dealing with no, it's animals. We're dealing with geopolitical affairs around the world. So let's get straight to it. The leader of Syria is supposed to be meeting at the UN next month, Security Council, to begin what is looking like the process to normalize relationships between Syria, USA, and Israel. So basically, normalizing the U.S. and Israel's relation to Syria. Now, today or yesterday, I think it was today, a delegation from Israel and a delegation from Syria, with Syria's whoever their foreign representative is taking place. Now, all of this in the backdrop where Trump is trying to negotiate peace between these guys to push towards his push for a Nobel Prize. But at the same time, here comes the bad cop again, and you'll start seeing a theme. Israel is continually striking parts of Syria, despite the fact that Trump is trying to breach negotiation. Israel says that they're striking areas to help the Druze and also to strike at Hezbollah and Iranian targets within Syria. This sounds a lot like what they were doing in Iran, where they said we're striking uh, in order for our defense, terrorism, and things like that. So it would appear that Trump and Netanyahu are not meeting head to head on this because Trump wants normalization, and they're even talking about a meeting between the terrorist U.S. implanted President al-Sharaa of Syria and the terrorist war criminal Netanyahu. They're supposed to have a meeting together. So, but with Netanyahu continually striking Syria and taking and building bases there, it looks like he's contradicting what Trump wants. But my argument is that this is all just a game. This is what the U.S. and Syria and Israel do: good cop, bad cop. Meanwhile, whether there's a peace agreement or not between Israel and Syria, or whether or not whether that happens or not, or whether Israel continues to strike within Syria. Nevertheless, Syria is a destabilized country, and it's really basically controlled at the whims of the U.S. and of Israel. So it doesn't matter either way. If it's stabilized, I don't see what benefit it really is for the free world. It's not a benefit. If it stabilizes, there's still going to be a threat to Arab sovereignty in that area. If it's chaotic and chaos, then there's no Arab sovereignty in there, and it makes Israel's presence in that region stronger. Or it maintains their strength, and I think that's the main goal. So either way we go, if we have peace or we can have continued chaos, all of this works in favor of the U.S. And I don't believe U.S. wants peace to be there. They want there to be a never-ending war in that region so they can keep making money and control the oil through Saudi Arabia. What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yeah, Israel is practicing some serious expansion and control in that area.
Yeah.
And before they removed Assad, they demonized him as being the problem, Syria, blah, blah, blah. These they sponsored some rebels, just like they sponsored Sons of Iraq that became ISIS, and they've now taken over. Now, we don't know what Syria is going. There's two ways that the Syrian government is going to turn. It's either going to turn into another Taliban or it's going to turn into another Saudi Arabia that is subjugated by Israel.
Yeah. So either chaos or colonialism.
Yes, and Israel does have a plan to take over the greater part of the Middle East, which does include taking parts of Syria, which is why they took over the Golan Heights, because it neighbors the Syrian border. So now that they've taken over the Golan Heights, they've gone over the Golan Heights and they've started incursions into Syria. Why did they take that? Yes, now why did they take that land? Well, apart from their Lebensraum plan, living space, which is what the Nazis did in the war, that they needed living space, they called it Lebensraum. Also, what they needed to do with that land was to control Syria and Jordan, because that land also controls 40% of Syria and Jordan's access to water. Once you block the access to water of countries in the desert region, then it makes it very, very difficult for them to turn on you the way that the Taliban turned on America, or the way that ISIS turned on America, or the way that Al Qaeda, or indeed pretty much all
the extremist groups. Now, is it Lebanon? You said Lebanon, right? Yeah, not just Lebanon. Is Jordan too part? Are they controlling those water areas?
Jordan, it's not Lebanon. Lebanon is
Jordan. It's Jordan. Yeah. Don't forget also that Syria has oil. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and Jordan has been very complicit despite the anger of its people. It's also run by, they call it the royal family. It's a dictatorship. I don't know why they always do this. They'll call these authoritarian governments um, monarchies to try to make it seem palatable to the Western mind. And they will say no, and it doesn't occur to them, and it really does work. I know educated people that it hasn't clicked to them that Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, it hasn't occurred to them that all these American friendly um, um, countries don't even run elections. They're thoroughly
they're undemocratic.
authoritarian.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, the
undemocratic.
only country that even does run any form of elections in the Middle East is Iran,
Yeah.
which is the enemy. I mean, even when they were overthrown the first time in the 50s, it was a duly elected, democratically elected government they had. It was overthrown by the Shah, and they've removed that authoritarian government, put in another set of policies, and gives them elections. They have elections, but there's no, they've been demonized as this
Yeah.
country. So going back to Syria, Syria is not going to be this question is Syria going to be a democratically elected government? It's going
Oh,
to be a
definitely not.
problem. It
Look,
can't
look.
sustain in that.
Let's look at the president of Syria. He's going to be entertained next month by the UN Security Council. They're legitimizing this guy. This guy is part of the HTI, which was a bunch of rebels and terrorists that the U.S. funded to get rid of Assad. He's a killer. He's killed people. He's killed Arabic people. He's killed Americans, or he's represented a terrorist organization, ISIS or ISIL, that has killed thousands of people all over the world. And Trump wants to sit down and shake his hand and come up with agreement. There's no,
No, that's not what he wants to do. He wants to interview him. He wants to find out whether he's going to be a friend of America and
yeah,
become
yeah,
a
okay, but I'm
puppet,
just, but he's still,
or whether he
but
wants to do a
I
fetal.
agree with you. I agree with you. But on the face of things, officially, America is shaking hands and representing and treating him as if he's a sovereign leader of that country. We know what Trump is doing. But my thing is that this contradicts this Western view about, oh, we stand for freedom and everything. They're in bed with this guy. And also, this is a security threat to America and to the West. You're in bed with someone who's a known terrorist who has in the past said they want to destroy the West. You're shaking hands with him. How do you know he doesn't plan to turn on you? Although we know he's a CIA operative. But I'm saying the optics of it alone should have people in the West throwing their arms up in awe. Like, I can't believe that you're doing this. Sorry, go ahead, Kunle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be careful about that CIA operative word because one Osama bin Laden was also a CIA operative, and that didn't end well either.
Yeah.
So, so this question of this interview now, there's a lot of ways it can go. And the reason that they're involving Jordan is because Jordan, like Saudi Arabia, is another fundamentalist Islamic country that actually has, these countries have like literally fundamental extremist leaders in
Yeah.
power. So these fundamentalists are coming to say, look, you
They,
can still be
they make MAGA. They make MAGA look like left wing.
exactly. So they're assuming that he is also a Muslim fundamentalist and he's going to join them. Now I don't know. He might just be a nationalist. He might just be a
To be honest with
nationalist
you,
without.
I'll tell you what he is. I think he's like Macron. He just wants money. The guy is a mercenary. That's my view of Sharaa. I think Sharaa is basically he's a warlord. He's a warlord. I don't think he has an ideology. I think he just wants power. That's my personal view. But go ahead, yeah. So
Yeah,
I think that
we've had warlords like
do whatever
Roland.
they want. Let me give you an example. While Israel continues taking more and more Syrian land and bombing Syria, he has an objective. It's Iran that's actually objecting on his behalf. Iran is saying what you're doing in Syria is wrong. So if Iran cares more about Syrian territory than Sharaa doesn't care. So long as he's called the boss. Like that type of thing, like in Nigeria, where the Oba lets the British take over as long as he can be called the Oba. I think that's what Sharaa is.
He does look submissive in that position. And when I saw his pictures on the news, he didn't look like a
Slimy, like
strong,
a snake.
imposing chap. He just looked like a young, scared little boy. And like I
Yeah.
said before, yes, Iran knows that what they're doing is wrong, but nobody in Jordan and nobody in Syria, regardless of which side you're on, you've lost your water. Once you've lost your water, Assad when he was there, they owned their own. They when these lands belonged to Syria, you couldn't push them around. If he had that area to himself secure, or if he took over Syria, he might be making different kind of noises. Also, remember that there might also be pressures from within his party. He didn't get there on his own. There'll be other
Yeah,
people that might not agree with him. There
right
might
now,
be
he
other
looks like a
people
lame
that
duck,
are.
like a little bit like Zelensky. But we'll see what happens. Yeah. Last
Yeah.
thoughts on that.
So you still can't say. He might decide to be their lapdog and then get overthrown by elements within his own party.
Yeah.
So when
And
I
his
say
party is a coalition of rebels, and they all came together to get rid of Assad, but they may splinter. Go ahead. Yeah.
when I say interview, they're not just looking at him. He might even be friendly, but not be the smart one. They're trying to figure out who is the smart brains behind this operation. It might just be that it might be a second or third in command, and they're trying to
Yeah,
investigate
but
further.
the CIA knows now because the CIA were the ones who funded him in overthrowing Assad. So they must know. They must know who they know about that.
Yeah, this
That
he funded
HBI
it
organization
overthrowing.
by the US. Yeah.
Yes, they did do so, but still there would have been elements within that group that he couldn't have done it without, who were not
Yeah, yeah.
American,
So they want to
who
go deep
were
into it.
Syrian.
It's a coalition of people on the ground before the US came. So they know each other. So it's more intricate than America can imagine. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And at the time that they fought their civil war against Assad, their goals are utterly Machiavellian. So we
Yeah.
don't know what their real
Yeah.
goals are
And
yet. And
they always
they
say
follow.
there's a joke. Well, it's not a joke. It's true. This is like 15 years ago. They showed all the warring factions in the Middle East. Like I think it was in Iran, but it was in Iraq. They said that for now we're fighting together to fight America, but once we get America out of the way, we'll fight each other. So this is the opposite. We'll come together with America, but once that those deals, that we'll do what we really want to do. So these guys have another hidden agenda that the West doesn't know, and this is why the West getting involved, whether it's Vietnam or Afghanistan or Iraq, it always backfires because they assume that these guys will remain their puppets. What do you think? And with that, yeah.
Exactly. You know, this chap, like you said, had been shouting death to America to rally people to his support. Now, he might have been lying about death to America, but he might have got some very, very organized people who really, really believe in death to America. And what they really mean by death to America is kick Israel out. They don't really mean death to America. They're pissed off at America because without America, Israel can't do what it's doing. So when they're saying to America, they're really saying get Israel out of the Middle East. Because before 1948, there was no Muslim shouting death to America anywhere in the world until 1948. So that's where it's coming from. But we sell it to the Westerners. They just hate us because we like to eat bacon and beer and chase girls. And that's why they hate us. Tell you this is this is what Westerners think the reason why they hate America. They think they're jealous of them and they just hate them and they just like chopping heads off and hands off and for no particular reason. They've been blinded to the fact that the reason they're hated is because there's this country that's currently attacking Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Iran, Egypt, Jordan, all at the same time, is on them in one way or another, all at the same time. Lebanon isn't in the news, but I know there's all kinds of crap because I have
Oh
clients
yeah,
in
it's still
Lebanon.
going on. It's still going on in Lebanon. Let me tell you what's going on in Lebanon. In Lebanon, Israel has basically told the hapless president of Lebanon that he has to destroy Hezbollah. So now the Lebanese government is now attacking young men on the streets and stuff like that and threatening to like kill people. So to get rid of Hezbollah. But it just shows you that Israel is threatening the president of Lebanon. The president of Lebanon is sort of like the president of Palestine. He's not that strong. But in order for him to keep his power, he's quelling Hezbollah and these groups, as because they're making a rule now that arms can't be held by other groups other than the Lebanese army. And the Lebanese army is not Hezbollah. Yeah. Well,
exactly.
Hezbollah is the real Lebanese army, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Hezbollah is like OPC in Lagos, but I won't say they're Lebanese.
The same thing with the going on in Gaza. What you call them a step down, Hamas. So basically, what they're saying is any group within your country that's anti-Israel or anti-imperial can't stand. your army has to be pro in line with imperialism. But anyway, yeah, so